was given on the proprietary fund and its fiscal condition. The proprietary fund has been an ongoing concern for many, many years. Basically, from a 50,000-foot standpoint, the proprietary fund is not sustained by water and sewer rates, and it should be. The proprietary fund is our enterprise fund. It makes up our water and our sewer rates as well as our gas. Those rates should go to maybe not make a large profit, but at least cover expenses. Well, unfortunately, it does not cover expenses, and what has been sustaining the fund in previous years has been irregular and abnormally large tap fees. We've had a couple of large apartment complexes that have infused a lot of tap fee monies. We've had been blessed with a large number of housing starts over the past 7 to 8 years. That slowed down and that picked back up, and it's slowed down again. All of that's ended. That's pretty much fallen off. All the cash that was stored up from those particular times has been drawn down. We did show a loss last year. I believe it was around $80,000. This year, the projected operating loss is around $200,000 in the proprietary fund. If that is fully realized, it will effectively eat up all of the liquid cash in the proprietary fund operating account. So, whereas I'm not saying we're going to have to cash a CD, I certainly hope we won't. It could go that way, and it certainly would go that way next year if the trend continues. Now, the preliminary budget that you adopted does not indicate an operating loss within the proprietary fund, but that's because there's a plug in it on the revenue side of about $250,000 in tap fees. Probably is not going to be realized. I can almost say it with a certainty that it's not. So then you look at what is the underlying cause of the problem. The underlying cause of the problem is water and sewer rates, as near as we can tell, have not been raised in at least 15 years. They have remained static over that period of time. We have a $20 base charge for 3,000 gallons, and it has remained that for quite some time. So when we look at a $200,000 deficit, we consider the question of how do we get back to break even? What do we do because we can't sustain losses? We have a customer base of around 1,275. So if $1 is added to the base rate, it raises approximately $15,000 in annual revenue. So the formula behind that is around 1,275 times $1 times 12 months is $15,300. So to cover a $200,000 loss, that means a base rate increase of $13 per month. That is 200,000 divided by 15.3 equals $13.07. So the policy decision is threefold. Either raise the total amount all at once, or phase in a total amount of increase over an undetermined period of time, or levy a partial increase and subsidize future operating losses from those reserve accounts that we would have. Whatever course you decide, staff would recommend holding the matter over for at least one or more public hearings, and we can advertise that through whatever channels you see fit.
I'm going to speak to this. I've had some discussions with the city manager. We talked about this quite extensively at our retreat. The foundation of taking care of something like the proprietary fund has got to come with the overall ongoing collections and things like these. And not only have we not raised our rates, that has put us in a position where if you compare our rates to comparable cities in this state and in this area, we are almost dead last, if I'm not at the very bottom. Now, it is good that we can say that we have held our ground and said, we're not going to raise rates on our citizens. It is. I think there comes a time, though, where you've got to evaluate. How are you going to make the changes that are going to be necessary to uphold the system? And we know what kind of shape our system's in. Okay? We already talked about spending $200,000. And even though it's an 80% fix, we know there are some things that are going to need to be done to our sewer system in the long run, because that's just a piece of the problem. The collection of that waste and where it goes after that is the next part of the problem. And that is a much steeper cost to take care of. So we've got some future costs coming up that I think we can stick our head in the sand and say, you know, let's depend on things that we're not sure of, like tactics, and hope it comes. But that's not going to fix what our major problem in this city is, which is the sewer system. I see $13. In reality, $13 is going to help us pay for a system that doesn't work. Think about it. Because if we raise it $13, we're just going to pay for the system we have now. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. We're behind now in our collections that's paying the cost of the service. So if we added $13, we would be paying for a system that doesn't work. Therefore, talking about adding $13 is something that I don't think we should be blinking an eye, at least to get us to that point, to where we can at least break even with the system that we have. And at $13, if we were to add $13 to our rate, where would that put us?
$33.
At $33, we sit where on the scale of cities our size and are comparable to us? Not even half, not even in the middle of the pack. Okay? Folks, if I'm just here 4 years, from what I've heard, one thing that I think we've got to do is get our head out of the sand and start fixing this system, or we're going to be paying big time for it in the future. We are. And we've got to get it rolling. We've got to get it going. And it's not going to take care of itself without everybody in the city pitching in, me included. And and so I will be recommending that we seriously look into. I want to make sure that all the citizens know that if we have rate increases, that those rate increases are going to go to that end, that they're going to be designated to that end, and that for every rate increase we have to take care of these problems, there's a designated project for that money over a period of time that can be easily seen and accounted for. But we've got to get started. And ratcheting it in may be the thing to do over a period of time. We've got to start somewhere. And I just feel it's time. It's time we make a move on this.
So what would the next step be?
I think what we need to do is pull the stuff account that we looked at here, it shows us all this, and shows us where we're at, where we need to be. And next month, talk about it again, and
Well, I just think whatever we do, decide to do, I think we ought to bring it in here, bring it to a business session, let everybody know what we're going to do. Have our I's dotted and our T's crossed on the kind of money we think it's going to generate, what it's going to be spent for, and then get it started.
Staff can prepare that presentation and modify it from what was presented at the fiscal year 14 retreat.
That would be good. That was a good presentation.
Set up the screen
Yes.
and do that. Is there any method of advertisement that you want us to undertake for the October council meeting for that particular informational presentation? How much do you put on board now?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Well, the time the next water bill
Because
goes out, it'll be October,
Right.
But, Karen,
water rate, you get it out.
What about these, from time to time, for different reasons, flyers were put on people's doors? I know that's a time consuming thing, but